Hey everybody, Steven here, and today doing a review from an ergonomic chair from FelixKing. The company reached out to me, and one of the reasons why I said yes to this particular chair is because of the price. This is much cheaper than other chairs that I've reviewed in the past. This is $280 essentially, and it has a $30 off code right now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it seems like they have frequent sales, so you're probably going to get some type of discount with this. So what I want to start with though is just a time lapse of me actually making this chair where I talk about a couple different things with this. The first one, as I'm rolling this footage, is this took about 20 to 25 minutes to make. You do get extra spare parts. Not all of the chairs that I've actually made and gotten in the past have had that, so I do appreciate that. And you only need a hex key with this, so really easy to make, and it's about on par with what it takes in terms of the amount of time that I've experienced with the chairs in the past. Like I said though, the big draw here is the price, and $280 when you're comparing this to other chairs that are reviewed that have been anywhere from $400 up to $600, maybe even $650. That is a huge difference in price. The question is, does it match the comfort that you find with that? And is it something that I would recommend when compared to those other chairs? So comfort is one thing, and then also, I mean, do you like the ergonomics? Do you like the style of the chair? So before we get into the good, the bad, and the gray area stuff though, I do want to talk about the adjustments that this can actually make. So let's go ahead and start on the right-hand side here. So looking at the right-hand side, this is where we have our height adjustment. So this drops down, and then it'll slide up just like this. This is the highest chair in terms of that height adjustment that I've owned and been able to use at this point. And that's been a complaint that I've had with some of the other chairs. My autonomous Ergo 2 is I just wish it went just a couple more inches in terms of the height. So those are typically about 29.5 inches in terms of the height. This one seems like it's about 31.5, 32 inches. So that is a huge plus for me personally. I do like that height adjustment. And then we can go back down. With this, if you actually pull this out, there we go, it'll lean back, and this will lean back all the way to 135 degrees. If you push this in, it'll lock that in place. So you do have the tilt with that. And then underneath on the bottom here, you have your tension spring, so you can tighten this or loosen this. So depending on how much kind of give with that leaning back do you want, you can make that adjustment. So we have that. After that, let's look at the armrests. So on the side here, we can do our height adjustment, and then we can slide these forward or back, and then you can tilt these in and you can tilt them out. Pretty standard stuff that I've seen with the other chairs. And then let's look at the neck rest here. So for this, we can slide this down. You can slide it back up. You can tilt it down and you can tilt it up. So again, pretty standard with what we're seeing with a lot of these other chairs here. And then in terms of the material, we have, it says ventilate on it, but I don't know if that's the name of the material or if they're just saying this has good ventilation. But it's a mesh type fiber here that we have, and it has like a pattern in it. Kind of looks like lines in the ocean when you would see like waves crashing, is what it looks like to me. That was one of my concerns too, is it going to be comfortable? And it actually is. I'm excited about that. So this is more comfortable than I thought, and I actually like this a little bit more than the cushion that I find with the other chairs that I've used. And then last is actually the lumbar support here. So you can't adjust this, but it is built in and it is very comfortable. On the bottom, it is roller skate blades. Like it says roller blades on the description here, and it does. It looks literally like roller blades. I like the aesthetic of this because it's clear, and then on the center, you actually have like the black molding that you get to see with this. So let's talk about the good with this. Comfort, that's a big one. I think this chair is very comfortable. I was surprised by the lumbar support pad. You don't have the adjustment, but for me personally, it's right in that sweet spot. I've mentioned this with all of the other chairs that I've reviewed, as I end up using a pillow to actually put behind this at some point because it's just not as comfortable as I need it. And a lot of those chairs, they actually have adjustments to the lumbar support that you can do. You can make it come out more, you can adjust the height, but I still end up using a pillow. that hasn't crossed my mind once with this chair. It's just in my personal sweet spot for that. I don't know if that's going to be for everybody, but for me, it just hits a sweet spot. So I do like the lumbar support. I do like this mesh. It feels very comfortable. The only thing I could potentially see is maybe like for long 6 to 8 hour days, maybe for somebody sitting on this, it would start to kind of become uncomfortable. Because I usually sit in this chair anywhere from 1 to 2 hours at most. And at that point, it's still comfortable for me. So very comfortable. I love the height adjustment. The price, I'm going to keep coming back to that at $280 to $250, when I can save $150 to upwards of $350, and it still gets me pretty close to those other chairs. That's a huge amount of savings with that. I love my autonomous Ergo 2 chair, which is over here off camera. I still love that chair, but they upped that price, and that chair is like $600 to $700 now. If I was in a position now, I needed a chair and I'm going to choose between this one or that one, I don't own them, I'm just going to buy them, I'm going to take this chair because it's so much cheaper and it gets me very, very close to that chair. It doesn't have all of the adjustments that has, but that is something that you're going to have to kind of see, is that something that you even need, right? A lot of the adjustments on there, once you kind of set it and you're good to go, like I don't use it. So the adjustments that this is missing compared to that, this base here doesn't slide forward and it doesn't tilt. I don't use those. So with this being right where it's at, it's fine by me. But if you need those, this chair does not have that. If you ended up needing the adjustment for the lumbar support pad, that has it, this does not. So that's something that you would want to consider with that as well. Some of the other chairs, they have like leg rests that shoot out from this. This obviously doesn't have leg rests, so you can't use that. So if you are looking for that, that's just going to put you into a different kind of category of chair anyways. So yes, it's missing those things, but outside of that, it has most of the other functions that chair has, while still being a fraction of the price. So if I could say like a negative with this, although I love the aesthetics of the wheels, at the tallest height for this, on carpet, when I go to move this, it wants to catch. And as it wants to spin around, if I'm towards the edge, this chair wants to tilt and fall forward. That's about it that I've seen with this chair. That's just like maybe a bigger standout negative. It just depends on if you're on carpet or not though, right? Because if you're in an office and it's on wood, or if it's on carpet that's just not as thick as this, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. This carpet in here is rather thick. So that's just something that's popped up for me. In terms of the gray area stuff with this, the aesthetics. I like the aesthetics here, but they may not be for everybody, right? I think this looks very similar to what you're seeing with these other chairs as well, whether it is autonomous or some of the other brands that I've reviewed. The big thing here is you can tell a difference in the quality of this material. It's not as thick. In terms of, it still feels sturdy, so it's not bad quality by any means, but it's definitely not as thick as those other brands, those other chairs. But with that, this is also lighter because of that. So there's a trade-off that you're having with that. And I would rather have a lighter chair, especially if I have to move this at some point. Those other chairs are a pain to move. So I've taken some from upstairs and moved them downstairs. It's brutal. This thing I can just pick up. Which is also why it came in a smaller box, which I like. So the footprint of actually having this shipped to you, it's a way smaller box compared to those other chairs, just because everything is just more streamlined. It's very thin with this. But if you're needing something that maybe is bulkier, I don't know why you would necessarily need that, but if that is a concern for whatever reason, you're like, I need something that's bulkier, then yeah, this is going to be a little bit more slim. This still does support 300 pounds though, which I'm surprised by that, because it is just between the mesh and the amount of material that it has. That's great, because that's the same amount that you see with these other chairs, right? Most are around 300, it's kind of middle of the road. I've had one chair, I believe, that was 350 pounds, and I've had one that was only 250. So this is kind of middle of the road with that. So it still supports a good amount of weight. So to wrap everything up, I'm extremely happy with this chair. Ton of upside. Again, the price is the big one. You get most of the adjustments that you get with all those other chairs. It's very comfortable for me, right? And the mesh here, if that was a concern, it feels really, really good in my opinion. Downside, roller blades getting caught, potentially maybe a little bit of tip. And then gray area stuff is just gonna be, do you like the aesthetics of this or not? So that's actually gonna be it for this one, everybody. Huge thumbs up from me on this one. I will have a link for this in the description if you wanna pick it up. If you have any questions about this that I didn't answer in this video, let me know in the comment section. I will answer that for you there. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.